Hello and welcome to the Ambit Energy New Consultant Training. My name is Ron Clark, and along with my wife Kim, we're executive consultants in Newark, Delaware. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the purpose of this training. We'll be discussing the support that's available to you along with the training resources, the system, and a plan of action. Now, the purpose of this training is fivefold. First, to help you understand the power of leverage in expanding your income. Second, to introduce you to the concept of duplication and why that's so important. Third, to give you a platform on which to build your Ambit business. Fourth, to give you a solid plan of action which will allow you to promote faster and earn more sooner. And finally, number 5, to give you the confidence to do something you've never done before. So, talking about the Ambit support system here for a minute, the support is extensive. Now, we just put a few things on here right now. We want to talk to you about who your upline support is or who your business partners are. First, there's national consultant Ray Monty. Now, if you don't know Ray, he's been in the business since October of 2007 and is pretty much a legend in Ambit Energy. In just over 7 years, he's earned close to $8 million in this business. He's broken every record that as far as promotions go, has won virtually every award in the business, sits on the Founders Leadership Council. I can't say enough about him. Also, I've known Ray for a long time prior to Ambit Energy, and I can tell you he's one of the few people in my life that I know if he tells me he's going to do something, I don't need to see it in writing. You have complete access to Ray, just like we do, and I've put his phone number here along with his email address, and he stands ready to help you at any time build your business. Next, I'll give you our information, myself and my wife. You'll see our phone numbers there, along with an email address that comes to both of us. I want to make sure you guys know, we've had a lot of success in this business too. We're the only executive consultants in the state of Delaware. We have the largest team in the state of Delaware. In fact, we have the #1 team in all of South Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, and all of Delaware. And we've been in since May of 2011, and our business has completely exploded. We've been on the cover of Success from Home magazine, which is a national business publication. We've won multiple awards from Ambit, including consecutive 5-star trips, which are all expense-paid vacations down to exclusive resorts around the world. And so we work this business full-time. This is all we do for a living. And so our information is there. And if you need us, we're only a phone call or an email away. And then finally, your probably most comprehensive resource is Ambit Consultant Support. You'll see the phone number there. If you ever have an issue where you can't get something handled through your access with consultant support, that's when you would come to Ray or to us. We have VIP level support, and we can escalate any problems quickly, and it's one of the things we really love about Ambit. There's no red tape, there's no dragging out any issues or problems, and there rarely ever are problems, but when there are, we can get them solved quickly if Ambit Consultant Support can't help you at your level. Now, as far as training resources go, here they are. You have Ambit University, which is available through your Power Zone back office, accessible 24/7. And one of the things I love about Ambit University is this is how my wife and I really learned this business on the front end. Because we worked full-time jobs, we had a business with 178 agents in 34 states across 4 time zones. So we were very busy working 80-plus hours a week, plus having a family. So we didn't have time to run around and go have training live somewhere. So we utilized the short training videos that are available on Ambit University, and they are very powerful. Next, you have access to topambitleaders.com. This is the website created by #1 income earner, founding national consultant Brian McClure, who's earned over $25 million in 8.5 years with Ambit Energy. He has a phenomenal website laid out with video channels for all the top leaders that you can access and an abundance of information. Additionally, on Sunday nights at 10 p.m., he has a national Ambit conference call. It's a training call. Either himself or other top leaders in the company will be sharing training information on how they grew their business. It's a valuable call. Also on Sunday night, you'll see here Ray Monty has a Sunday night call at 8:30. That's his Sunday night team call. Phenomenal team call where he recognizes new RCs, SCs, ECs, and NCs on his team. And he interviews some of the top leaders so you can hear their backgrounds, where they came from, and what they've done to build their business. Additionally, you have access to his website at the ecfactorynation.com, where there are a lot of resources for you to take advantage of. My wife and I also have a website, clarkinternationalgroup.com, where we have extensive training materials as well as information about what's going on our team and so forth. And we have a Monday night team call at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll see the number there. On that training call, I take about a half an hour every single week, where my wife does, and we train on particular topics for our consultants. Additionally, there are webinars running virtually every day of the week at ambittraining.net. One of the special ones we recommend everyone be on, in fact, my wife and I, you'll see us logged in every Sunday night at 7 o'clock, no matter where we are, to Ray Monty's EC Factory 6-step training. Very comprehensive training for brand new consultants. And then finally, a customer gathering training by the top leaders from around the country. This is a conference call where you can dial in and hear stories from leaders all over the country who've built their business from the ground up. And this call is hosted by executive consultant Renee Harris and senior consultants from around the country. Now, in this business, I always like to start off telling people there are three things you can do here. You can crawl, you can walk, or you can run. And so I want to be able to set some realistic expectations for you on the front end of your business. Now, I understand there are some people who are not looking to replace their income. They're not looking, to make this a six-figure, seven-figure business. All they need is a little extra money every month to maybe make a car payment or, make bills come back on time and so forth, where they may be falling behind on things, and they're looking for an extra $100 to $400. They only want to work a couple of hours, a few hours a month. And in this particular case, your income primarily is going to come from personal recruiting. And again, this is if you select to crawl and you're only going to work your business a few hours a month. For those of you who are looking to walk, we call that an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. You're generally working 3 to 5 hours a week. You're most likely plugged into the local meeting in your area, and your income is primarily coming from personal recruiting as well as leverage by getting promoted and taking advantage of the time and efforts of other people in the comp plan to be able to generate an income for yourself. And then finally, there are those who are looking to run. And if you're one of those people like we were, and you're looking to create a full-time income on a part-time basis, if you'll commit 7+ hours a week, and let me make sure you understand this, you don't have to do 2-hour blocks or even 1-hour blocks. There are times when a lot of leaders in this company who are doctors and business professionals, they don't have that kind of time in one lump sum. They may do 15, 20 minutes a day here and there and an hour on the weekends, or come into one meeting a week that's an hour and a half. That's how they're allocating their time, in small blocks, on the way to work, on the way home from work, during lunch. They are finding time in their schedule they didn't know they had. And when you're willing to do that, and you run hard with this business, your income is going to come from leverage and residuals, which is where our income comes from now. Our business has become so big that by starting this business part-time in May of 2011, we were able to go full-time, and this is all we do for a living, and you can have that same opportunity. Now, everything starts with your why. Why you do something is more important than how. Anybody can learn how to do something, but without a strong enough reason to do it, they fail 100% of the time. So Ambit is nothing more than a vehicle to take you where you want to go. The why is your fuel, the passion, the persistence, the reason that gets you up in the morning, gets you out of the house, making phone calls to people that you know, showing up at meetings, going to trainings, and things like that. And the three things every why must have, three components, are they must be something you're passionate about, something other people can emotionally connect to. As an example, when you're sharing with somebody that you've just had a baby and you don't want to go back to work, you want to raise your child and not have somebody else do that for you, that's something that people can relate to. Or maybe you're starting your business because your children are going to college in a couple of years and you don't have enough saved. That's something people can relate to. Now, on the opposite end of that, if you're telling everybody you want to buy a brand new Ferrari, they're not going to connect to that. They don't care if you have some wild, fancy toy. So keep this something that people can emotionally connect with on their level. And then finally, and this is the big one, your why must be written down where you can see it. So let's talk about the vision board for a minute. Once you write down your why, and you can write down multiple reasons. The reason we write them down is things that we see visually impact us. And that's what leads us to the vision board. Your vision board is kind of a visual representation of your why. You're writing your why down because you're going to be sharing that with people when you talk to them about the business opportunity or about being customers. You're going to share why you're doing this. But your vision board is for you to be able to see clearly why you're doing this business. You're going to have great days in this business. You're going to have some tough days in this business. Your vision board reminds you why you're doing this. And there are some great examples here. Actually, this is our vision board, my wife and I, of things that we want from this business now. And in fact, this vision board has changed many times because as we achieve things, we take them off and put new things on. And, you want to make sure this is something that when you create it, involve the whole family if they want to be involved. We've done that with our children. In fact, we have a joint vision board right here, and then my wife and I have a separate vision board because we have a lot of other things we want to do. Plus, our children have a vision board as well. So, primarily, my son's is all toys since he's 4 years old. My daughter's is all about the mall since she's 13. But they all have a connection to this business through their vision board, which is very important for your family if they're going to, be behind you or supporting you in this business. Now, your contact list. Here are the rules that I have for developing a contact list. If the people you know are currently breathing and walking on planet Earth, they go on your list. If some of your friends are on the space station, orbiting Earth, wait till they come back. If they're dead, there's not much you can do about that. But everybody else who's breathing and currently on this planet gets put on the list. Don't prejudge anyone. Don't leave people off who you think are too successful. This business is full of people whose incomes were very large prior to ever seeing Ambit, and they were some of the first people to jump on. What I've found from experience is the more successful they are, the more likely they are to have a huge sphere of influence and want to carve out the time to do this. The other little tidbit I'll share with you too is there are more people making six-figure incomes who are living paycheck to paycheck than people who make below $50,000 a year. So don't ever think that the person making a six-figure income is well off and has no financial issues. They usually have enormous financial headaches and are some of the first people that you'll want to talk to about this business. Now, your initial list should be 50 to 100 names. Some will, some won't, so what? You're sorting for the pearls. You're looking for the sharpest people that you know. And who are they? Well, it's not just an income thing. It's who has desire, who has heart, who has a strong enough reason to do this business, and you won't know that until you call them on the phone. And you'll be going through family, friends, and coworkers. You're not calling strangers out of the phone book or anybody like that. In fact, what I normally say is when you make your initial list, the first thing you should do is write a list of all the people that you know right off the top of your head. Then after you write a list of all the people you know off the top of your head, merge all of your social media contacts, all your email contacts, all your phone contacts, put them into one spreadsheet or one resource where you can see them on a regular basis. The most successful consultants that I know in this business have a list of contacts with them at all times. And they use their spare time to do this business. They do business wherever they are. They stop for a few minutes. They have 10-15 minutes where they're waiting for a kid to come out of school or whatever. They're on the phone calling some folks that they know. And you want to keep that list with you. To continue developing the list beyond the initial names that you put down off the top of your head, use a memory jogger, like the Yellow Pages, like a names list. We used a names list when we came into this business because my son had just been born 12 weeks prior to us getting into Ambit, and so I still had that saved in one of my browser windows because we were trying to figure out what we were going to name my son before he was born, and so we had that list of names up there. I found that invaluable to us because it helped me remember people that I had just forgotten that I hadn't seen in a while. And your job in this business is to contact everyone on your list as soon as possible without being concerned about whether or not they're going to join you. I can't emphasize this enough. I'll talk to people who've been in this business for a year, and they still have names on their list that they've had since they started. And when I ask them, why didn't you call these people, they're like, well, that's my chicken list. They're people that are really successful, and I'm afraid they'll tell me no. You know what? Your job is to stop worrying about what they're going to tell you and go out and contact everybody. And every single consultant that I know, including ourselves, who went out and contacted their entire list without worrying about what people would say, has become a superstar in this business. So if you really want to be big in this Ambit business, stop caring about what people think about you. And here's a little news flash. I learned this years ago. When you think people are going to think ill of you, or you think somebody's, they're thinking about you in a negative light, I can promise you, 5 minutes after you're off the phone, they're not thinking about you. In fact, my first business mentor told me, the only two people that are thinking about you on a regular basis are you and your dog, if you have one. Nobody else cares what's going on in your life. So don't be afraid to contact these people, because you never know. That one person that you were afraid to talk to, somebody else might talk to, and now they come in their organization rather than yours. Now, creating your contact list, the initial invitation is brief and to the point. Bob, can you do me a favor? Bob, I need your opinion on something. The purpose of this is only to get them to take a look. Don't explain anything. That's what we call the valley of death. If you're out explaining anything you've seen in a business presentation ever, or anything you've seen on the video or a live presentation, whatever it might be, if you're mentioning any of those things about the co-founders, about the company, about the service, about the regulation, about any of this stuff, you're in the valley of death, and I can promise you, the person you're talking to is going to be like a deer caught in the headlights, and they're going to want to do everything they can to get away from you. All you're looking to do is get them to agree to take a look. And once they agree to take a look, that's when you can share a little bit more. Bob, I've started a part-time business so that I can send Sally off to college in a couple of years. It would mean a lot to me if you'd take a look at what I'm doing and give me your feedback. I really value your opinion. Can you take 5 minutes and do that for me? Now, if you just heard what I said, and it's right here on the screen, what did that take? Less than 30 seconds. All we're looking to do is get the information in front of them as quickly as possible, and then let them evaluate whether or not this is something that's for them and the timing is right for them. Now, we use the Energy Gold Rush system. This is an optional system. It does not come as part of your Ambit package. We started using it a couple of years ago, and we found it to be an outstanding resource to help us quickly sort through all the people that we know and show the business in an overview format in just 5 minutes. You can sign up for the Energy Gold Rush. If it's something that you'd like, you can contact us at info@ronandkimclark.com, and we'll show you how to set one of these up. It's only $10 a month. You can get the service for free if you have 3 referrals, if 3 other people on your team start using it. So I'm one that just absolutely loves this system. It saves me so much time. I'm not running all over town, sitting down with somebody to show them a business they don't know what they're coming to see, and finding out 10 minutes into the presentation where I've driven a half an hour there, finding out that they're not interested. The Energy Gold Rush system allows me to sort people out quickly, and when I follow up with them, that's when I find out who's interested and who's not. And I found this is a very unobtrusive way of getting them to take a fast look and not commit a whole lot of time to come into a meeting yet or sitting down with you one-on-one. And I love the fact that everybody's got 5 minutes. And so it can be used anywhere at any time. Phone, computer, tablet. One of the best places I love for the EGR system is when you're someplace where you're around other people and you're not going to be there for a long time, but it's not the appropriate place to sit down for a half an hour and show a business presentation. Let's say you're at your children's softball game or soccer game, or you're at a party, or you're at dinner with someone, or wherever you might be, and someone starts to express an interest in what you do after they've asked you, and you said, I have a part-time business about to create a full-time income for me. What do you do for a living? And inevitably, when you say something creative, it always comes back to, can you tell me more about it? And that's normally what I'll say to somebody. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at this. It takes 5 minutes, and then you tell me if you have an interest. I love that, right on my phone, and I can screen this person out very quickly to tell whether or not they want to be a customer or a consultant or nothing. And it's just meant to help you get this business in front of the most number of people in the shortest period of time. You see, the other reason I love the EGR system is everybody's busy nowadays. Between work and family responsibilities, even if you have 5 hours a week to do this business, how many presentations can you do in that 5 hours? 2, 3 maybe? Especially when you have to make the phone calls to set them up. With the EGR system, I can have 30, 40, 50 people a week looking at this business and be sponsoring them right over the phone, which is what I've done. My wife and I have done a lot of these. Or, the other thing I prefer to do is use the EGR system to screen them prior to sitting down and doing a presentation. And what I've found is, when I use this Energy Gold Rush system, when they're interested off of the 5-minute video, they inevitably join the business because they've seen enough to get their interest up. Now, confirm with your prospect when they'll be able to look at it, what time, and then confirm when you're going to call them back. It should be within a few minutes of when they see it. Then, don't email. Text your prospect the link to the EGR site, your EGR site, or you can use if you have somebody on your team that has one, you can borrow theirs for a while until you feel comfortable using it. That's fine. All of us have them, and if you'd like to borrow ours, we'll show you the format of how to do that, and we won't charge you for it until you're ready to have one of your own. So once you text your prospect the link to the EGR site along with the time you'll call them back, you want to make sure you're getting that over to them as soon as you're off the phone. The reason that you text and don't email is this. People have a tendency to hang on to texts virtually forever. Plus, when they get a text alert on their phone, they are more likely to take the time to read that text than they are to read an email. Why? Because texting is much shorter and to the point. And a lot of times when you include your link in there as well, they'll click on it right away. Whereas opposed to an email, they may be at work, their email is monitored by their employer, so they can't take a look at it right now. They have to wait till they get home, and then they forget about it once they get home. So there's a lot of headaches with email, and some people don't check email but once a week. So you want to make sure if you're texting it to them, it gets to them right away and they're going to look at it. Just tell them to complete the form that's on the website. They won't get spammed. So you know that they looked at it, and if they want more information, a 15-minute video will follow once they fill out that form. For information, if you guys want to see what this looks like, you can go on to our website, ronandkimclark.com. The word "and" is spelled out. That's ronandkimclark.com. Go on and test drive the EGR system. Fill out your name. Just put in there that you're taking a test drive. Just put test drive in there for your first name, and then where it says last name, put in your full name. And you can go through and see how this system works and how simple it is. You want to make sure that you're calling them back at the time you agreed, and you want that in the text. So, you're not only sending your link, but the day and the time you're calling them back. I always ask, when I'm asking them to watch the video, if they can see it within the next 5 minutes, I'm going to call them back within 10 minutes if I'm available. So call them back at the agreed time, and then stick to a few simple questions here, guys. Did the video make sense to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not being interested and 10 sign me up now, how would you rate yourself? And are you ready to get started, or do you have any questions? That third one is the biggest one for me, because now if they're ready to get started, we sign them up. If they're not ready to get started and they have questions, that leads us to the next step. And the fortune is in the follow-up here, guys. A multitude of reasons why people don't join right away. Finances, family or work situation, life gets in the way. Maybe your job is to keep Ambit in front of them, but, not annoy them. You don't know why they're not joining right away. If they're too busy to watch the longer video now, set up a time for them to do that. And if they aren't ready to make a decision, set up a date and time for a follow-up call. If they want more information, set a time to do show the plan. So presentation formats, there are a number of them. You have, in order to go to a longer format, and you'll see we're going to walk into this in just a minute with a three-way call. Whenever somebody has questions, you want to get them onto a three-way call, and we'll be going through that here just shortly. But I'm bringing it up now because it's really important to know someone has to see the entire presentation before you do a three-way call. And that's why we've put the presentation formats up here. The 5-minute video is not the entire video. It's 5 minutes long, giving them a brief overview, which should then lead to one of these business presentation formats. So, maybe it's the EGR system, they're just filling out the form and taking them to the longer video. Going to a hotel meeting. There are meetings all over the country and listings on PowerZone, as well as in the EC Factory emails coming out from Ray Monty's team. There are private business receptions you can do in your home. A lot of people call them in-homes. I love these. They are held in your home with a leader who will present this for you and teach you how to do this. Grand openings with private business receptions are a fantastic idea. It's one of the principal ways, along with the EGR system, that we build ourselves up to executive consultant. One-on-ones and two-on-ones using a Success from Home magazine, also very valuable. Take the magazine with you, point out the leaders that you know on the cover, as you will get to know all of us. Take the video out, pop it in, let them watch it, and when they're done, that's when the three-way call happens. Online videos where you can just send them directly to your website, and then webinars at ambittraining.net, where besides training, we also have business presentation webinars as well. Now, the three-way call. Why do we use three-way calls? Well, they're duplicatable by anybody. You see, your friends and your family, they know you know nothing about this stuff unless you're an energy expert already. So going in and trying to pass yourself off as an energy expert, they're going to realize you're just bluffing here, and they're going to quickly shut you down. It's also a way you learn. Just like in your job, most people have on-the-job training. They come with a certain set of basic fundamental skills, but then the rest is taught to them through on-the-job training. That's what a three-way call is. By listening to your leaders answer questions from your prospects, you're going to learn as you get promoted through this plan how to do three-way calls from listening to so many of them. Also, busy people love that experts are just a phone call away. And if you don't use them, I promise you're going to fail in this business. There are a lot of people who are more concerned with looking smart and to all of their friends and family than to following a system. Now listen, I can sit down with somebody and do a one-on-one, show them the entire presentation, and then answer every question for them because I do three-way calls, probably 10 or more a day. But you know what? If I do that, they're going to look at me and think, wow, there's no way I'm ever going to learn all that. And that's when they will shut you down and not join your team. And they won't tell you that. They'll use the phrase that we hear a lot when you don't do three-way calls. The phrase you're going to hear a lot is, I don't have the time. And they don't have the time because they saw what you did and they can't do it. If you show them how to do a three-way call and you're demonstrating what this business is all about, from the moment you contact somebody all the way through the time you sign them up, you are physically demonstrating how this business is run. So don't tell them what to do if you're not doing it already. Walk the walk and talk the talk, okay? So you want to make sure you use these at all time. Who do you call? A team leader or somebody with rank and success in the business. My wife and I try to do male on male or female on female or something that they have in common, maybe in their profession or something like that. We find that the more common ground they have with the person they'll be talking to, the more likely they will to be able to connect on that phone call. Three-way calls are very short too, guys. Most of them last 5 minutes. Answering a few questions, telling a little bit about the story, quick, easy, and to the point. Now, how do you properly set up a three-way call? Well, you set it up in advance. If you know you're going to be calling somebody, and we all understand there are times when there are short notice presentations where somebody has agreed to sit down and you're like 20 minutes away from needing somebody to do a three-way call. That's fine. You can text several leaders at once to ask for help, whether you're setting it up for the next day or 2 days, or if it's 20 minutes from now. Just make sure you have a list of several leaders you can text. If you don't have that list, you can email us at info@ronandkimclark.com, and we'll send you a list of several leaders who will do three-way calls for you, as well as the leaders that are on your immediate team. You need to know your leader's background to edify them properly. The better you edify someone, the more likely they are to be listened to. And here's why this is important. If you get on the phone and you've got your prospect Bob that you've known for a long time, the two of you have a lot of common ground, but Bob doesn't know your three-way call expert from Adam, and you get on there and just say, hey Bob, this is Tom from Ambit, he's been in a long time, he's done pretty well. Tom, this is Bob, go ahead and take it away. There is no reason whatsoever for Bob to listen to anything that person says, because you have not rolled out the red carpet and extended your credibility to this third-party expert. So here's the right way to do that. What you do is, when someone agrees to be your third-party expert for your call, you want to ask them how they want to be introduced. And they will normally send you a biography, both professional and with Ambit, so that you can, if you have to, just read it. But you want to make sure that you're being thorough. Now, guys, you may get a biography from somebody that's pretty long. It's not an ego issue. It's a matter of, we know that the more edification you do of that third-party expert, the more likely they are to be listened to, and the more likely they are to be looked at as someone's opinion, who they can trust and who they should listen to. So edify them, get their personal biographies from them. On ours, for my wife and I, along with Ray Monty, if you need our professional biographies, they are on our website, clarkinternationalgroup.com, for your download. Stay on time or text if there are delays or cancellations. You know, you might set up a call for 3 days from now, and you wind up driving someplace to sit down with somebody at their home or a coffee shop or whatever, and they call you and say, hey, I'm running 10-15 minutes late. Always, always, always text your three-way call expert who's agreed to do this for you, and let them know of any delays or cancellations. Here's why. Many of us have very busy schedules with a number of three-ways coming in all day long. And even though you're backed up 15 minutes, you may not think that's a problem. It could be a real problem for us, because I may have already booked something at 3:45 and was expecting your call at 3:30. So make sure you're sending that delay or cancellation text if there's an issue. And a lot of times, if we're not able to do it at the time you've rearranged, we'll tell you who to contact, or we'll even reach out and send some text to some people to see who can help you with it. Now make sure you're introducing your prospect and your leader to each other. Okay? Let the leader know how you know your prospect. Very important. The more information you give, the better. Especially if they know whether the prospect is married, do they have children, how long have you known them, what do they do for a living, things like that. The more information, the more we have to work with. And then after you introduce both parties, I normally introduce the prospect to the consultant first, or to the three-way call expert first. And then I edify and introduce the three-way call expert to my prospect. And after that introduction, your job is to remain quiet. My recommendation is, if you're using a cell phone, let's say that this is a true three-way call where all three of you are in different locations, mute your phone. If you're in a restaurant or you're at somebody's home or whatever, just sit quietly, hand them the phone, and let the three-way call expert do their job. Your job is to not interject anything or bring stuff up or remind somebody of what they quote-unquote may have forgotten. Once your leader's done the call, they're going to invite you back on. And again, don't remind them of anything you think needs to be mentioned. It undermines their credibility, and trust me, if they don't mention something, there's usually always a reason for that. Your leader will then guide you and ask your prospect to the next step by asking them where they stand. Now, here's what my wife and I do. We always ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 where they stand. You saw that already. That way, we can recommend for them what they should do. Now, after the call, it's going to be released to you to now follow up with your prospect. But we're not just going to release you and not help you here. As we're leading you in for you asking this person to make a decision, we're going to lead it all the way up to the doorstep, if you will. And so we're going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you stand? If they're a 1, 2, a 3, or 4, they're not interested. And there is nothing you or I or anyone else can say, even if the co-founders and Ray Monty were standing behind them, they're not getting in. Don't try to convince people against their will. Allow them to be where they are. If they're a 1, 2, a 3, or 4, sign them up as a customer. And I will even say that to you. Hey, John, sounds like Bob, since he said he's a 3, it just would probably, benefit from being a customer. So show him how to save some money enrolling as a customer. And then in a few months, if the timing's better for him, we'll bring him on board as a consultant. If the person is an 8, 9, or a 10, I'm going to say, hey, Bob, you know what? Sounds like John's ready to go here. So when I get off the phone, show him how easy and simple the enrollment is. Help him get his first customer signed up with his own home. And then, give me a call back as soon as he's in the system, and we'll talk about a plan of action. And if he's a 5, 6, or a 7, I'm going to talk to you about what we do in that such situation, and that's getting them more information, more credibility information, so they can make an intelligent decision. Now, if they still have questions, you're asking this now, keeping it simple. You're going to ask the first question. Hey, Bob, based on what John shared with you, are you ready to get started and join me in Ambit? He got off the phone with a third-party call, and so the third-party caller in this sense is John. So your prospect is Bob. Bob, based on what John shared with you, are you ready to get started and join me in Ambit? Now, remain quiet and wait for an answer. Don't blab all over the place. One of the problems people have is they don't shut up. And so somebody can't give them an answer because they never take a breath. Your job is to remain quiet and wait for an answer. Guys, there's a lot of people who can't make decisions quickly, and so they need time to process what they've seen. They were hit with a lot of information here. Now, if they still have questions, don't hesitate to call your leader back for additional help. And now, if we're going too far beyond the time frame when you've ended the call, text the leader back and say, are you available just for a few more minutes and a few more questions? And if your prospect still can't make a decision, I have found this to be the most effective way to help somebody move forward. I'll say, Bob, can I make a recommendation? The risk in this is minimal, and the reward can be huge. Take a chance and work with me on this. I'll personally work with you and help you make your money back quickly. What do you say? Sometimes that right there is the tipping point. As they're waffling back and forth, what decision do they make? Boom. That you come along and say all that, and now they're thinking to themselves, I really have nothing to lose. Why don't I just try this? And that's where we want them to go if the timing is right for them to do this. Now, credibility information I just mentioned a moment ago. Sometimes people can't make a decision without doing some research. Unfortunately, that normally means a 2-minute Google search, which is not research. Don't leave people to do their own research, which they may never get to because they're so busy. Give them the Ambit approved credibility document that my wife and I created, along with the Ambit awards and accolades. These can be found at clarkinternationalgroup.com/credibility. And for more information on the overall Ambit story, you can go to theambitstory.com and read all about Ambit from its very beginning until today. Credibility information, guys, should be sent immediately after someone has watched the entire presentation and has still not made a decision. And the reason being is, if they go online and Google something for some knucklehead somewhere said about Ambit that isn't true, all of a sudden it's like, well, I saw this or I saw that. It's because they're not looking at legitimate third-party reviews from, huge, credible, comprehensive sites, like the Better Business Bureau, like J.D. Power and Associates, like Inc. Magazine, and all those different things. So we compiled literally the months of research that we did before we got into Ambit. We compiled it into a short PDF document that somebody can do their own homework in less than an hour, with all the links and everything else they need. And it'll even address some of the negative websites that are out there that are actually what we call extortion websites. They collect bad information on every company, not just Ambit, not just electricity and natural gas. I mean every company in America. Put your own company in and see one of these websites will come up and show negative information. And what they do is try to extort businesses to pay them a $5,000 a month monthly fee in order to remove all that negative information off there. Well, the problem is, guys, a lot of that information could be made up. No one knows. When you have a first name and a last name, but you don't have a state, or you have Bob S. from Nebraska, nobody can validate who any of these people are. So that's the reason we meet this head on and tell people, if you're going to research, do legitimate business research and use legitimate sources that are credible and valid. Now again, fortunate in follow-up, those who prioritize following up make the most money, period. People are at different stages in life, and the timing may not be right for them at the moment you discuss Ambit with them. Maybe they have stuff going on. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe, they're contemplating a divorce. Maybe they've had somebody die. Maybe they're, worried about 10 different things at work if they'll still have a job. We've had lots of people tell us, no way I'll do that, or I'm not even remotely interested, and then join us a year or two later. I hung up on national consultant and number 5 money earner Ray Monty when he first called me in February of 2011. 4 months later, we were in the business. So I'm here to tell you, don't ever think a no is permanent. Keeping people in a spreadsheet or a file of any kind with reminders to follow up is the key to getting to EC. The better you are at following up, the more money you're going to make here. And make sure you're updating your emails to have a signature at the end, so every email you send out has something about Ambit in it. If you need more information or more examples, just look at the emails that come out from my wife and I. We have our name, we have our title, and then we have our EGR website, our Energy Gold Rush, so that people can see that. And then on social media, I always post. Now, I'm not posting to recruit. I'm just posting about what Ambit has done for us. We celebrate Residual Income Day every month. Our residual income usually comes in on the 13th or the 14th of the month, depending on whether or not it's a weekday. And so when that residual income comes in, I put out there, Happy Residual Income Day. Ambit sends us another huge deposit. Thank you, Ambit, for all you do for us. That's how I recruit. I do not go onto social media and say, if you're interested in saving money or making money, call me. Nobody is ever going to call you ever if you do stuff like that. But if you're putting positive things up there about Ambit, they will continue to see your excitement over and over and over again, and they won't feel sold, and they won't feel like you're trying to push something on them. What they'll see is you're having a positive experience with this business. I cannot tell you how many people have come into our business because they've seen posts on Facebook or LinkedIn, and I'm not recruiting at all. I'm just putting how wonderful Ambit is, and then I put my website for my EGR on there, and it's amazing how many people go to it. Now, let's talk about fast tracking here for a minute, because if you're somebody who wants to run, not crawl, not walk, but you want to run, the first goal you should have is being a fast track regional consultant, and here's how this works. 526 is the DNA of our business. It's the platform or the building blocks of everything we do, and it stands for you getting 5 personal customers, and then personally sponsoring at least 2 marketing consultants, and then having a team of at least 6 marketing consultants, and then that promotes you to regional consultant. Now, completing the 526 business model in 28 days is called fast tracking, and it can be done by anybody no matter how much time you do or don't have. I'm here to tell you, my wife and I did it in 9 days, running an 80-hour-a-week business with a family. We've had people on our team that have promoted as fast as 3 days to regional consultant, and there have been people in Ambit who have literally promoted the same day they came in. So it's possible to do this much shorter time than 28 days, and we're very fortunate. We've had a number of people on our team promote to fast track regional consultant. What does that do for you? Well, here's my question for you. Do you want to get paid now, or do you want to get paid later? For me, sooner is always better than later. So it can put $300 to $900 or more in your pocket, depending on whether you just put 2 people in or if you put all 6 of them in. That's what we did. We knew a lot of people. So I went out and sponsored 6 people in our MC code, my wife and I, and then we got promoted quickly in those 9 days. If I wasn't working a full-time job or if I had taken off the day, we probably could have been promoted the same day we came in. So, if you're willing to allocate the time to do this, you can have $300 to $900 coming into your pocket almost immediately or more. Now, that's not a whole lot of money, but where it leads you is to a whole lot of money, and it positions you for leverage and speeds you through to the higher income levels, which are critical if you really want to run in this business. Fast Track Senior Consultant just means that you promote within 60 days of your enrollment to Senior Consultant. What does it take to get to Senior Consultant? 18 consultants in your regional consultant organization, 2 of which you personally sponsor. So if you think about this, you put 6 in your marketing consultant code, and that promoted you to RC. Now, the moment you hit RC, you're going to do this again. You're going to sponsor a couple people, and now you're going to put 18 people into your organization. Now, in the simplest terms, you just need 3 people to do what you did to promote to RC, 526. So you'll get paid a minimum of $55 on every MC who comes into your RC code who gathers 5 customers in 28 days. And it depends on the current promotion. It could be a lot higher, and normally is. I'll tell you the truth, in the 4 years we've been in the business, I've never seen a payment for $55. It's always been at least 1.5 times higher, and as high as 4 times higher, depending on the state of where the customers are gathered. So I'm here to tell you that's just a base minimum. It's normally much higher than that. And when you fast track up to senior consultant, this is where you're going to start getting into significant overrides on your team. It was the point in our business where we qualified for an all-expense-paid 5-star trip. It's also the point in our business where our income just seemed to go vertical month after month. And again, it's really important when you want to earn more money, now or later. If it's now, you work with us and we'll help you fast track both to RC and to SC within those time frames. Again, send us an email at info@ronandkimclark.com. Tell us that you want to fast track, and we'll set some time aside personally to work with you and mentor you to get you up to that level. Now, the importance of duplication. The system you just learned, guys, is simple and has made a lot of people a lot of money. Don't try to look smart or use the system, your own system, or tweak things. You're going to lose a lot of time and money, and your team will live and die on everything you do. I'm here to tell you, I know so many people who've come into this business and told me, well, I'm not going to do this part, or I'm not going to do that part. That's not for me, or you don't understand my friends, or you don't understand this. Every single one of them who has ever told me a part of the business they're not going to do is gone. They leave the business, they lose money, and don't do a thing. If you're in this business to stroke your ego and make yourself look smart, it's probably time to get out, because you're not going to do very well here. If you're in this business to make a lot of money, this system and the duplication of this system throughout your whole team will do that for you and make you a ton of money. Reinforce the system with everyone on your team, regardless of the level of organization. We do this all the time. This is the reason why I've created this, because it's so important for people to understand how important this information is. Remember, your leaders can't support you or anyone in this business if you're not following the system we teach. And if you're doing your own system, the business lives and dies on everything you do, on the availability of your time only. If you stay within the system, they're going to have access to hundreds, possibly thousands of people to help and support their business. But if you create something on your own, the only resource they're going to have is you. And when you're gone, their business is done. You don't want to do that. Now, hosting a grand opening, I mentioned this earlier, by having an in-home presentation, or what we call a private business reception. We love these. There's more training on this on our website on clarkinternationalgroup.com. This is just the highlight of a grand opening, and I highly recommend you do this. Invite about 20 or 30 people to your home for the grand opening of your business. Don't get scared at that number. Trust me, they're not all coming. You invite 20 or 30 people. If you have 10 or 15 there, hallelujah. You want the house packed. Even if you have a small place or an apartment, you want your place packed. More energy, more excitement. But if you have a huge home and there are 2 people there, not much excitement there. So invite 20, 30 people and expect 10 to 15 to say yes. Just tell them something very simple. We're having a private business reception on Wednesday at 7:30. Seating's limited, and you're one of the people I'd like to have there. Can you make it? Short, sweet, and to the point. And you can host this at your home or your office, and one of the people in your leadership organization will usually host the first couple for you. Now, when people ask you, well, what's it all about, or, what are you doing, there's a whole training on this, guys. You can find more information on topambitleaders.com by clicking on the Brian McClure channel and watch his System 16, parts 1 through 3, that explain how to get 16 in-home presentations going on in your organization within your first 60 days in the business. Phenomenal training, and this is one of the things that really helped explode our business. And once you host a grand opening, it's not the last time you can do it. You can keep hosting these until everyone you know has had a chance to see a presentation in your own home or office. Income possibilities. This is what I want to leave you with. I want you to know what's possible here. As a marketing consultant, you can sponsor all 6 people like we did, who all get their customers and trigger all their bonuses of $900 or more, depending on the current, CLB promotion. When my wife and I came in, it was $1,500 that we earned from the 10 customers that we put on, plus the 6 people who triggered their bonuses. That's $1,500 on 3 hours worth of work. So if you want to put all those people on personally, you can. How did we do that so fast? Go back to the section on fortune and follow-up. We made sure that we followed this system all the way through and followed up with people to make sure we were moving forward. Now, as an RC, your income is going to depend on who joins your team and what they do. But I'm going to give you a fast story about Jordan Blank. Jordan Blank is a friend of mine, also a friend of Ray Monte's. We all worked in the telecom industry years ago. After the telecom industry, Jordan moved to Durango, Colorado on a ranch and pretty much stepped out of any type of home-based business and was running a small travel business from his home. Ray Monte, when the state of Pennsylvania opened in 2010, called Jordan Blank on the phone and said, "Who do you know in Pennsylvania, and do you have Ron's number?" So Jordan had my number along with 2 other people, and he gave it to Ray. And he told Ray, "I'm really not interested in this. I have a lot of stuff I'm doing. I'm not interested in a home-based business anymore." So Ray said, "I understand. Well, let me call these people. If any of them want to join, I'll call you back one more time to see if you're interested." So one of the numbers he gave Ray Monte was disconnected. The other number he gave was a guy who was interested and came into the business. Hasn't really built, a big business, but he built a large enough business where he does this part-time and has a small team. But then the third person, me, that Ray called, I originally hung up on Ray, but then we came in 4 months later down the road. And when we came into this business, we came in dead serious to make this $1 million business in the first 5 to 7 years. So as a result, in this business for about 4 years, Jordan Blank is making a significant 4-figure residual income. We came in to the lowest part of his organization. We came into what we call his MC organization. So he's not earning any leadership bonuses off of my organization at all. Purely what he earns right now is just 7 levels of residual income. He doesn't even get the customer residual bonuses, the quarters to $1. Just the 7-level income has created a major significant 4-figure per month residual income, month after month after month. You see, guys, you never know what's going to happen. You're one phone call away from somebody changing your life forever. And as a result of what we did, we helped Jordan get promoted to RC. Now, he's still a regional consultant, but I promise you, he's probably one of the top 5 regional consultants being paid in this entire company. And in fact, he's making more than many senior consultants and maybe even some executive consultants because of what he earns off of our business every single month. So never underestimate your level and who might come in and change your financial outlook forever. As a senior consultant, you can earn $50,000 to $100,000 or more and see your residual income cover all your bills. That's what happened to us. We had our residual income covering all our core bills before we ever promoted to EC. And then finally, as an EC or an NC, your residual income alone could surpass 6 figures a year, not counting the leadership bonuses, which could be 2 or 3 or 4 times higher than that. In addition, you also qualify for the ECNC reimbursement program, which, depending on which position you're at, it's either $1,000 or $1,500 a month on top of everything else to use however you choose. So the income here could be extraordinary. What I want you to focus on is your only job is to get through and contact everybody on your list as soon as possible without caring about what they're going to think about you and without caring of whether or not they're saying yes or no to you. Because a no today could very well be a yes tomorrow. We have plenty of those in our business. In fact, there's one of my senior consultants that helped us get promoted up to EC that originally thought I was nuts and went off the deep end when I closed my insurance business and did this full time. And 2 years later, he was in my business and was one of the SCs that we needed to promote. So you never know where your superstars are going to come from. I'm going to leave you with this. Attitude is everything. Whatever course you decide upon, there's always someone to tell you you're wrong. There are always difficulties arising which tempt you to believe that your critics are right. To map out a course of action and follow it to an end requires courage. And that was said by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And what I want you to see here, guys, is if you'll become bulletproof, and bulletproof is another training that I do as you get more advanced in this business. Bulletproof just means that no one can take you out of this business with their comments. And most of the people who tell you this business won't work or it's not legal, they have no clue what they're talking about at all. You know, if I can give you the best piece of advice to wrap this up, it would be this. Never take advice from anybody who isn't doing what you're trying to do and isn't where you want to be. If you want to learn how to be a millionaire, stop talking to people that are broke. If you want to learn how to build a big Ambit business, stop talking to your dead broke brother-in-law or your neighbor who's never tried anything in his life. You go to the people in this business who can show you how to become a superstar, and we are financially tied to you. We have an incentive to teach you everything we know, because the more you make, the more we make. That's how our income grows. So we have no vested interest in doing anything that would harm your business. If we do, it harms ours too. So keep your attitude in check. Follow this system. Stay committed to what you've learned here and duplicate it throughout your entire organization. And I promise you, if you stay persistent and consistent and won't waver and be patient for the results, you can make a lot of money in this business. On behalf of my wife, Kim, and all of our consultants all over the country, I want to thank you for being part of this training. Again, share this with the folks that you know on your team as they come in. They can use this resource. It is on our website, clarkinternationalgroup.com, under Consultant Training. I want to thank you for your time today, and we look forward to seeing many of you very soon.